in which we've had this kind of a system, so we've learned a lot about the user features we want and how to be fairly skillful. But this next step about learning how, when you're faced with having this in your office all day, as I now do, very exciting sense, how do you put that to work for yourself? How do you organize your files? What kind of things do you do? So to get going on this, let's switch away from the tool we have here and talk about some of the general features of the program, some of the ways it's built, and get back a little later to the nature of our usage of it. All right, let me get back to this material. Here's just the outline I'm going to use. You can realize that it's a file. These are statements, and we're probably looking at the top level of them. And the first one, the introduction, you can consider we've done. And the next one, overall about program, is what I'm going to do now. Well, I'm going to do something called jump on a link. And a link is something that'll go between files. So what it's going to do, it says I'm going to go to your file name as CNRO. And the link also says where in that file and just what view it wants. So when I do like that, I'm in the middle of that other file looking at this particular material that's been carved out by the specifications on that link. And this is telling me to make a preparation to start out on a presentation. But I should also remember I'm going back to this other file because what I want to do is restore a different kind of look. All right. Oops. I'd go to a different file in which, because I made a hitch in my rehearsing for this thing, in which I have many types of format structures set up and numbered, and I just reset the kind that I want to use to show you this material. We're very flexible with it. For instance, I can say I'd like to restore number 7 is a horrible example. See, I can have many ways in which I can control all of the parameters, character size, spacing, location, and everything else, but I don't usually go to this extreme, but it's just showing you that I can. The one I want right now is the one that shows you a simple large view. We usually work with a view, wait a minute. We usually work with something like this, where when we're working with our close spaces, we can do quite well, but it's felt that that would be a little hard for people to see, so we're using it like this, where we don't see as much material, but they're larger and clearer. So now let me go back to that file I came here from and say, all right, now I'm ready. I'd like to jump and learn about the program. When I get in here now, it looks different, as it should. This is another file, and in this file I prepared a chain of views. And using some of the tools, I have it all set so I can from one scene to the other. I could study them in the fashion I've shown you before, but it's sort of fun to set up these chains, and it represents to you a way in which we work too. So to do it, I'm going to freeze a statement that's named A, and I'm going to put on a certain parameter when I do it. And then I'm going to jump to a link. Here's a link. It says you want to go to statement A, but after the colon, all this garbage tells a bunch of abbreviated ways in which you'd like to control the view when you get there. Many parameters, as you'll notice. So I'll just say, all right, go to that one, and I'm looking at statement A. Now it's telling me this presentation is devoted to the AHIRC. The natural question is, what's that? That was another boo-boo I made. I left several statements frozen. This statement I've asked to be frozen. That was the setup operation. It's just going to stay there above that dotted line as the viewing part of my screen from there down jumps around on the links I have set up. Okay, the first jump took me to this statement saying, all right, Augmented Human Intellect Research Center is what AHIRC stands for. A hidden link will take me to the next one, telling me where it's located, that in SRI, it's an explicit organizational entity at what we call a group level. But also I'd like to point out there are other man-computer work going on at SRI, and ours is but one. So if I jump on a link, incidentally, I should just stop and reveal to you that the link is hidden under there. I was very clever to set the viewing parameters so they wouldn't show the link, but when I say jump to link and mark it there, the computer goes looking from there on for that link and obeys it. And I'm not showing the statement names either, but this is statement named P, obviously. So that program involves about 17 people together with the special laboratory facilities we have. It's sponsored by government agencies exclusively, ARPA, NASA, and RIDC now, and in the past, AFOSR and ESD, and these were the people that first grub staked us many years ago. All right. And it's been a goal-oriented pursuit for many years, and I think we can just go off and get a quick little picture I sketched to show this is the staffing over the years from 1950 on, and it's had slightly bumpy history. During these years, there was only one of us. I go back to where I was and say, let's continue on in this file. That link took me out to a different file, to a statement for that view, and I jump back to this file where I was, and now within this file I make a link to another to say, the HIRC is pursuing these goals. Basic goal, improve the effectiveness with which individuals and organizations work at intellectual tasks. What does their effectiveness involve then? Better solutions, faster solutions, solutions to more complex problems, better use of human capabilities. Really thinking about that. But a corollary goal is, besides improving the effectiveness, to develop a system-oriented discipline for designing the means by which greater effectiveness is achieved. That's very important to us. The approach for this should result in the system-oriented discipline. Let me just show you how I constructed this file. You notice underneath there with that and that, there was just a link hidden here that went back to this view with a slightly different view parameters. To give you that view. All right, there's another one hidden there. It says the general approach for us, empirical. We're pursuing this monstrous goal, monstrously difficult, by building and trying empirically. And we're approaching it evolutionary-wise because we feel that it's a whole system problem. You need to get a person in that environment working and looking at the many aspects of his working system that are involved in his effectiveness. That's many more things than just these computer-aided tools. In a large system like that, we need to do it evolutionary-wise because we can't be analytic enough about it at any one point to decide what best our next thing should be. We can only decide from here, as well as we can analyze it, where we can invest our next resources to get the most return at an increase of the effectiveness of the system we have. And this item down here is the term bootstrapping applied in a slightly new sense. We're applying that to our approach, where we're saying we need a research subject group to give them these tools, put them to work with them, study them, and improve them. We'll do that by making ourselves be the subject group and studying ourselves and making the tools so that they improve our ability to develop and study these kinds of systems and to produce, in the end, this kind of system discipline. So it's a struggle doing it that way, but it's beginning to pay off. All right, from there, sorry. I'm apologizing to my friend, the computer. I said jump to link and hit it up here, and it went and found these parentheses starting here and says that's not a link. I should have hit it here and then find a real link, and I'm back in this list here. And I've given you an overall picture about the program, and that's out of the way, and I can just move my marker down and say, let's save that version. So this tool, in pursuing those goals, one of our principal tools is this computer aid system.